What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? What's good, people? What is up? What is up?
Now my traits are acting like I don't be on. Another Jimmy Butler, which I don't understand.
Well, hello. Hey, sir.
Hey, how are
How are
you?
you?
You know, I'm surviving.
You look like you getting your whole Run DMC on. I love that hat and the all black. He's
My
black, y'all. He's black, y'all. He's blackity
black,
black.
black, blackity, black,
He's
black, black.
black, y'all.
Make no mistake.
I'm here for it.
What's
How the
going
hell
on?
are you?
What's going on?
How's your Tuesday going, sir?
You know, I had to call you early. You had to talk me off the ledge.
I did. I did.
But things are fine. Looking forward to having another great show. It's always a time with you. So
It with me, I
yeah.
I'm a good romp in the hay. And that's what I've been told.
Well, you
Mm,
said and not me.
mm. Yeah, because I don't want you to tell the story. You're supposed to keep that a secret just between us. Okay, don't tell nobody.
Between me and
Just me and you. Just saying. I think I like that one.
you like that one?
Yeah, it's real plain. So we have an exciting show today, y'all. Of course, we have uh comprehensive coverage of the federal aid pause and shutdown. We have also we're going to talk about some things that this administration is doing within the to and within the Rainbow Coalition compound. We have, some inside information and intel about some of these memos coming out of um, the federal government, allegedly. We'll put allegedly on there. Certainly, we want to talk about when there's infighting on the right. We love seeing infighting over there.
You love to
We'll
see
talk
it.
about some of that. Immigration is on in the dossier. Some of these federal firings is in the dossier. Um, that whack job, Robert J. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is in the dossier. We got a lot to talk about, sir. Are we gonna have time to get through all of this? Yes, we will, like we always do, and we'll do
We
it
always
as
do.
only we can. I'm excited today. So we have a lot to talk about, a lot to unpack. We are so glad that you all are here with us to hear our commentary and help us sort of break down some stuff. And we like that. We like that. So, sir, where you want to start? You want to start with top story of the day?
I think so.
All right, top story of the day is a memo that came out from the Office of Management and Budget saying that there was a temporary freeze on all things, on all federal grants and government aid and assistance. And that happened this morning. Actually, it happened last night under the cloak of darkness. And then we found out this morning. That's how they like to do stuff. They like to do stuff under the cloak of darkness and then have us wake
Mhm.
up to the house on fire.
Like an assassin or a thief in the night.
Mm. I've had some things happen in the night. I don't know if I had anything stolen. Mm.
Their virginity.
My innocence, maybe. That's it.
There's not much of that left at this point.
Actually, it was the original time it was stolen. That wasn't at night. That was in the middle of the day.
Ooh,
I
same,
needed to see what was going on.
same. Right in the middle of the day.
Oh man. So yes, sir. I'll let you get this party started. Now we do have an update that came out. Everybody panicked. Social media went into a frenzy. That's what they wanted. People were alarmed. The house was on fire. We were at DEFCON 1, threat level red. And then this afternoon, uh, um, you know, it came back and said, "Yeah, bro, you can't do that. What are you doing? Can't do none of that." And now we're here. So now I can let Cam. That's our update.
Yep, yep. There was a freeze from a federal judge who questioned the administration's authority to use such a sweeping directive without congressional approval, because we have those things called checks and balances, or in theory we do, but so it's been frozen to what, February the 3rd, I believe, was in the ruling. So we'll see. Um, but I do think it's going to set up the stage for a prolonged legal battle over really what are the limits of executive power. Because post 9/11, the presidency has expanded tremendously in its powers, as I believe Congress has ceded more and more of its authority to the executive. And then we just see the Supreme Court just capitulating to certain administrative goals, is how I will phrase it. But I think today was the wake up call for a lot of people. This isn't going to impact me. Um, I like it when people wake up and they wake up angry. This is when you get Congress to do things now. You have, because I know I called my congressional representation and I hit my senators up. Hey, what are y'all doing? Because this is highly illegal. Are we going to hold anyone accountable for 4 years, or can we just go out there and do the purge? Because if we could just do the purge, I mean, I would love to, you know, exercise my Second Amendment right to do a little thing, the thing of the thing of the things.
Um, the first thing I checked for when when I looked when this happened, the first thing I checked for is what you should always check for when anything comes down. You immediately check, where did this happen? Any law that goes down, you first check, where did this happen? Um, this happened in the Fourth Circuit because this was a district circuit court of DC Circuit Court of Appeals. The judge, she's there. So that was my first thing. That I ran to see where this happened, and no, and because it was the DC, um, it happened at the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia. I was okay. I can deal with the Fourth Circuit. Um, because this happened in the Fifth Circuit, where democracy goes to die.
Not even democracy, justice, reason, common sense, reality. It's an entire list of things that goes to die in the Fifth Circuit.
And for those of you all keeping tabs on these various circuits, there are how many are there now? 11? Yeah, there are 11 circuits. And it's ironically enough really split. You have I know circuit 1, 2, and 4 are blue, and then you have the western wall with 9 and 10.
Yep.
Um they are blue as well. And when I say blue, I'm not saying they're Republican or Democrat, but that what I am saying is the majority of the active circuit court judges have been appointed by Democratic presidents. Okay. Um so, but then the Fifth Circuit is, which is Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi,
Mississippi.
is where I say that's where democracy goes to die, because they are the most red of all of the they are the ones that take away rights that are already entrenched and enshrined in the Constitution more often than not. When these people try to slip things through the when these people try to slip things through that can get to the Supreme Court really fast and take all our rights away, they try to get it through the Fifth Circuit because it's most aligned with these people. Now, some other circuits that you'd be surprised are majority of their judges have been appointed by Republican presidents. The Seventh Circuit is one that surprises a lot of people because you have Illinois and Wisconsin. No, that's Minnesota. I'm sorry. Illinois and Minnesota and Indiana is in that one. Right? Y'all right above Illinois, right?
Or right above Iowa.
Oh, so that's Wisconsin then. I was thinking wrong. I'm sorry. Wisconsin, Illinois, and Indiana are in the Seventh Circuit. The Third Circuit surprises me as well because that's Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware. That's the one that has majority um, um, uh, uh, judges that have been appointed by Republican presidents, and those states, it feels like you would want to think would align more so with Democratic leanings. But who am I? Anyway, back to the subject at hand. We knew that this wasn't going to stand in the same way we knew that trying to do away with the 14th Amendment wasn't going to stand. That's an actual freaking amendment to the damn Constitution. Even an act of the Supreme Court cannot do away with an amendment to the Constitution. That's
No.
not how any of this works. Now, while um, there's the Constitution does speak to the um, the responsibilities of the respective branches. Um, the parts of the Constitution that speak to this is still left to interpretation, I guess you would say. Um, there isn't um it isn't as codified as say maybe one of the amendments, but it's still clear as day in the freaking Constitution that the Congress, the legislature, are the ones who decide how our money is going to be spent, and it becomes the executive branch's responsibility to execute the budget, make sure that the laws are adhered to, but they don't get to wholesale decide this is what I want to spend money and this is what I don't want it to be spent on. That's why we have appropriations committee in both the House and the Senate. The House and the Senate have an appropriations committee. These appropriations committees decide how money is appropriated, where money is going. Now, there have been sweeping instances in our history where Congress and the American public, but through Congress, have given up their rights. For example, after 9/11, when you decided that presidents could just decide to go to war without Congress giving them the go ahead to do that. And people say, well, why can't the president do that? Because that takes a lot of money, resources, and American lives are put on the line. So you would want it to not be one person that makes that decision on when we go to war. In similar fashion, you don't want any one person making the decision on what we pay for, what gets funded, and what doesn't. Because if we learn nothing, and here's what upsets me, and I'm gonna let you go after this, Kev. What upsets me is as much as Congress and people down to DC try to tell the American public, well, he told you he was going to do this and he showed you he was going to do this. Did not 45's administration teach you all that they have no understanding for precedent? They have no understanding for protocol, decorum, standing rules, you know, understood policies. They have no fucking understanding for that. And if there's nothing written in stone saying that they have to do something, if it's not codified in legislation and in the Constitution, they're going to break the rules. You cannot expect these people to act normal if it's not explicitly stated. And the problem is just like the we learned that our problem with 9/11 was, what's the terminology they said? They said oh, I can't remember the exact wording, but essentially what they said was we just didn't think that this could happen, or we didn't believe that something like this could actually happen. It was an actual term. I used to know it so well because they used to say it all of the time. It's something of the imagination. It's I can't remember. It'll come to me later. But anyway, we couldn't imagine. I think it was failure of the imagination. I think that's what they called it. But we couldn't imagine that, oh, this could happen. And in the same regard, y'all have always said, oh, they'll get in there, they'll do what's right, and then they'll clean themselves, or they'll act right, or they'll know, precedent or decorum or standing rules or how things have always gone, or they'll act right. They're not going to do that. And for some reason, you all have failure of imagination for believing that these people won't do everything they can to violate every constitutional amendment. So we're going to see a whole lot more of this where they try to have a wholesale throwing in the trash of the entirety of the Constitution, only for federal judges to have to say, yeah, nah, we can't do that, bro. Well, who's to say that one of these times it won't make it to the fifth? Because what we've been fortunate enough is the circuits that they've gone to have been circuits where you have a judge that'll say, "Yeah, let me stop this now. Yeah, we're gonna still have this court proceedings, but right now I'm gonna put there's an injunction in place, or I'm gonna halt what you're trying to do because you are." But you could have a circuit that says, "Yeah, we'll take the case, but we'll just let it keep going until we figure it out."
Mm-hmm.
And that's the dangerous part because we're expecting the guardrails to stay up, and you could get in front of a judge that says, "Yeah, we're not here for this. We'll take the case, but until we come up with a decision, we'll let this continue on. We'll let this just stay as it is, go as it is until we figure it out." Go ahead, Cam. I talked for about 5 minutes. I'm sorry.
I hate these fucking people.
I said all of that, and you have 5 words.
I mean, do you want me to go further in detail about why I hate these fucking
Right.
people?
I had a
Oh,
whole
oh,
five
oh, okay.
minute
I'm
tirade,
sorry. I'm sorry.
and you and you followed that up with, "I hate these fucking people." 5 words. I went 5 minutes. You went 5 whole words. Like
Okay,
that's
so I think it's important to note, like, even though we have been reporting like very real stuff, it is. I understand it's very easy to become susceptible to this burnout where you just want to give up and acquiesce and you want to pre-obey. And I think what the good thing about the articles that I sent over to you is showing that not only are states suing, uh, nonprofits are suing, right? People aren't just taking this laying down. And I think that the states have a very valid legal argument when you look at cooperative federalism, right? And that's essentially the concept that it requires the federal government as well as the funding governments, i.e., the states, to collaborate together in funding shared initiatives. Because without the states, the federal government has no money, right? So there's sort of a shared destiny there that the executive cannot, by fiat, dictate where the money goes. Also, I really think that we're not talking about the Impoundment Act of 1947 enough. If Congress has passed a law and the funding is there, the president does not have the wherewithal to then impound or block that funding from going to the pre-earmarked locations, right? They just can't do that. That's not the point of it. That's not a power that's explicitly spelled out in the Constitution. That's not one that we've recently ceded through a past congressional bill, through a reconciliation and an omnibus, anything like that. So I think it's important to know that fighting back does work. We just need to continue to keep up the pressure because you only have dictators when you have people that are willing to allow themselves to be dictated to. The politics of appeasement have never worked. We can look at Germany in the lead up to World War II. We could look at that. We could also look at the politics of appeasement when you had the Freedom Caucus, how they were slowly but surely taking over and have then subsumed the Republican Party. And then you saw the same thing that happened through MAGA. You keep appeasing these fringes, you keep pushing things further and further. They're going to continue to do things. You have to fight. And you have to use every legal option that is available to you. If you know what your rights are, which the users on this channel do, our peoples know what the hell is going on. You have to keep fighting. And I think where some of my frustration is that the Democrats, I don't know what they're doing because to me they're not an opposition party. They don't oppose anything. They just send sternly worded memos and letters. What is that going to do for us for the next 4 years? A bunch of damn nothing. So I think that we're actually going to have to start doing it because I hate to say it, but I've been writing letters a lot recently. And I've been expressing my concerns. I don't want people to sit back and just, that Susan Collins bullshit where you're concerned about something yet you still voted through. That does us no good. If you see that these people are going to be a problem, then I need you to be a roadblock. Like we don't need to make it easy. If they do get some policy or legislative victories, they need to be bleeding from the nails when they finally get across that finish line. Because I'm doing everything I can to drag them into the future, because we're not trying to go back to 1950. Because let me be clear, that's where they're trying to take us. They want
I,
us free civil rights, because why? Immigration is such a big thing. When did immigration become big? When the Civil Rights Act was passed, because so many people couldn't immigrate to the United States before then. So be very clear, when this administration says they care about immigration, they care about weakening historic legislation that gave us the rights that we have today and the immigration system that we have today. Let's be very clear that that's what they're trying to do. It's written in their Bible, aka Project 2025.
so, something that when we talk about what federal aid and assistance is, a large swath of federal funds are the title funds. You hear us on Teacher Project 2.0 talk about Title One funds, because Title One funds are funds specifically earmarked toward education, so that we have access to public education for all students, and we've gone down that route. To improve. Title One funds are to improve academic achievement of students that may come from rural areas, poor areas, disadvantaged areas. Is to ensure that there is equity um, within education on the public school level. But some of the other titles many people don't know about, some of the other title funds, a lot of people may have heard of Title IX funds. These are all things that could be halted if you stop giving federal funds. Title IX funds are the ones that we hear about with regard to equality between male and female sports and things like that at schools. And you talk about Title IX funding. Great. One of the title that we don't hear about a lot that I'm definitely afraid of is Title Six funds. And I learned about this way back when I took educational leadership courses. They taught us about all of the titles and then taught us a lot about Title One. But they taught us about Title Six, it raised my ear because I had a black professor at that time, and I was glad that I had a black professor because they honed in on Title Six. Title Six funds are funds that were created after the Civil Rights Act of 1964. And these were funds by the American federal government specifically to ensure equal access to programs and services, regardless of race, color, or national origin. That's what Title Six funds are. These are federal dollars. Who gets Title Six funds? Title Six funds goes to states, universities, local governments, hospitals, nursing homes, home health agencies, managed care organizations, state, county, and local health agencies, state Medicaid agencies, state, county, and local welfare agencies. Why am I bringing this up? Things like Medicaid, things like your local county health department, things like if you live in a rural area and you have that one clinic or that one hospital, nursing homes. So, a lot of rural local governments, some small universities, even some HBCUs, and states, all of these entities receive federal dollars in the form of Title Six funds. Now, when you start to look at the executive orders that were put out by this administration, you can see a clear line that federal funding for things that fall under Title Six are what they're going after. That's what they're going after. And they're going to have the smoke and mirrors around everything, right? They're
Mm-hmm.
going to have all types of smoke and mirrors because we're going to hear about a lot of stuff. But that carve out right there, just of the Title Six, you're not going to hear mainstream media talk about. The only portion that they've talked about is that all 50 states stated that they didn't have access to Medicaid. Medicaid is just one portion of Title Six. When you go to the health department or the free clinic and get your condoms, all of that stuff comes from Title Six. It's a lot of important things that involve us black people having equal access to things that we have inalienable rights for to have, a lot of that stuff falls under Title 6 funds. And not just as black people, but poor ass, rural ass white people will find out that they fall under that as well. And when they start, there are things, some things with HUD and Section 8 that fall under Title 6 funding. So when they start talking about we're just going to take all of this stuff away, I have to tell people, listen, especially for minorities, people of color, or people who are come from poor rural areas. Title 6 is one of those big titles, uh, title funding areas that people just take for granted because we've come to expect these these fall under expectations that all of us as citizens have for the government, just basic expectations that we have for the government, and these things are being taken away, or at least being, or at least trying, they're trying to take these things away.
But there's also some additional nuance to that Title 6 funding as well, though. When we look at some of the programs, Native American education, Native American housing, that is part of Title 6 funding, right? When they passed the Older Americans Act, anything that's specific to that demographic, that is Title 6 funding. Like, we're not there. It's so much more than that. And when you look at their attacks on birthright citizenship, you really do need to be thinking about Native Americans, because Christy Nome, that was a deliberate decision. And the
Mhm.
reason why is because she was banned from every single reservation in her state when she was governor. She was not allowed to step foot.
Also, I should help you all understand. Watch, just watch how this was strict. Watch how this happened. Let's go backwards. We talked about today them trying to strip monies because and all of this DEI stuff, right? What was the one division within the U.S. Department of Justice that they just shut down? They just shut down the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department. Do you know where all of the definitions or outlining of what Title 6 is and what you get through Title 6? You know where that's decided and housed at? Within the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department. So even though Congress has appropriated money for Title 6 and so forth and all of that, Title 6 is outlined and defined within the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department, the very same division that they have decided they don't want no parts of.
And also to add to that point, Teddy, like, Republicans have long said that government is the problem, right? So that's why this current administration has just recently, a little bit after your live, actually, they have offered a buyout to almost every single federal employee, giving them a buyout. So there is no one there to do the day to day services of the government. Government is the problem, so we'll destroy it. That is the goal of this administration, is to destroy the government. Like, I don't know why people haven't realized this, but that's the goal. And it's alarming that you're trying to offer everybody a buyout, because when I work for the feds, yeah, we did all the work. I mean, programs don't manage themselves. Funds don't go out to recipients automatically. Eligibility determinations still have to get made for anything that's an income or means tested program, right? So there's very vulnerable people that are going to be impacted, because I mean, I think some of these people are going to take the layoffs, right? I know when I was a federal employee, I got beat up a lot. People think you get paid a ton of money and you don't work hard. That's not the case, but
Miss Cookie say they're invited to resign. Say not even, not really offering a buyout. Oh wow. I'm not laughing at you, Miss Cookie Ray, but I'm
And
just
the
saying
thing
this
is,
is
like,
awful.
even the thing that they put out, it doesn't say where that funding comes from. It doesn't say what the payout schedule would be. So I think, if you're a federal worker, you'd be an idiot to take it anyway. They lie hard in this administration. So I
Shout
don't.
out to the 50 people in the chat. I don't know that we've had 50 people for our red, blue, and black. Shout out to y'all. Go ahead and subscribe and stuff
We
like that.
didn't.
We have a good
Did
time
you
over here.
did you talk about the other title funding as well? Because I think that there's specific funding that I'm concerned with. I know we talked about Title One that helps a lot of. I mean, I went to an inner
I
city
didn't talk about all of them. We probably one day should. We can. I don't
like
know if
on
you want to do it today, but we probably
just.
can and should do
I
uh
think. I think we
um
need to because a lot of people know Title One.
mhm.
I mean, Title Two. The goal of that is to increase the number of qualified educators. Like I know they want to get rid of that because you don't want an educated populace. They're more susceptible to propaganda if they're uneducated, if they have no media literacy. Um, Title Three, the funding is like what English language for immigrant student like ESL. A lot of that
Mhm.
is from Title Three.
Mhm.
Title Four is what I'm very concerned with because
Well,
that
yeah.
provides financial aid for
That
post secondary
colleges,
students.
post-secondary,
Period.
Pell Grants, all of that.
All of that is Title Four, and I know they're going for that.
Title Five deals with mothers and infants and children, your WIC programs and all of that stuff. Anything to support mothers and children and stuff like that. Um, gap filling services and stuff like all of that is Title Four. Title Four funding. This stuff gets real ugly when you start to really break that Title Seven is public health services, all of the public health services, stuff that provides training for primary healthcare providers and things that fall under health and human, a lot of stuff that falls under health and human services, a lot of stuff that falls under this is supplementary or other support for hospitals and doctors and training for doctors in the line of when we have the next pandemic and stuff like that. All of that stuff is funded through Title Seven funding. And these are things that we just really take for granted that that we're just going to do, that we're just going to have. I can see Title Eight going real fast, and that's those are funds and grants that support research and language training for people when they go abroad and stuff like that. They don't even want you to speak anything outside of English. So
English
why would
and
they
then
want to?
Title Nine. They don't want to support gender equality, and they definitely don't want to
Mm-mm,
investigate sexual assaults happening on colleges and universities across America because they don't give a damn
no,
about women, to be quite frank.
no.
Um, but Canada's like it is a buyout because I mean it's offering you a deferred resignation program, and there is some language from within my network where they're trying to actually increase the federal buyout amount because right now it's capped at 25,000.
There is a Title
So if
10.
you're getting any sort of financial incentive to not work but still be on payroll, I would consider that a buyout because you're not doing any work. You're just there. It will be considered a VSP anywhere else.
There is a Title 10, and I can definitely see them going after Title 10, which is all about birth control, reproductive
No, we're in Handmaid's Tale.
reproductive preventative reproductive reproductive assistance and preventative measures in family planning. They don't want no parts of that. Mm-mm.
I'm just glad I
Nope.
have a mole inside the good old Heritage Foundation. They're telling me a lot of stuff, which links to the article that I sent over to you and why I know that it's coming from them.
So, and the last thing we'll say before we get to our next topic on this is for all of you had Caroline Levitt today say, oh, they're not going to touch SNAP benefits or Medicare or Medicaid. And then in every state in the union, they couldn't access any of the portals that give them that sends over funds from Medicare and Medicaid and so forth and
Couldn't even
stuff.
get reimbursed.
And what happens, because what happens is they do dumb shit. They listen to some idiot that tells them, "Yeah, you could go ahead and do that." They do the shit. It comes out and they go and they're like, "Yeah, bro, that's not how this works." And then now they have to try to backpedal or say, because when she got in that press briefing, everybody was like, "Hey, what the hell is going on? What is that?" And she was like, "Well, we put the memo out, ma'am. Your memo doesn't give any clear direction." And
It
what
was
happens
generic.
and what happens is when you put these people in charge of huge government agencies, these people who have larger than life responsibilities that have never done this, that have no experience in how government works or how all of these agencies works or how policies works, and you listen to people who might have been an ambulance chaser and feels like they're all knowing because they have their Juris Doctorate, and now they give you bad legal advice, and you go out here and do dumb shit, and now you got to be embarrassed because as much as they try to tell you that they're not embarrassed, some of the hardline stuff that they said they want to do, they're finding, yeah, we can't. That's not how this works because they told you that they really quickly be able to get a whole lot of people out of here, and they're noticing you can't just remove immigrants that easily like that. There are laws in place.
There are laws in place, and that's also,
You
you have to think about the receiving country, because you can't just round up people that you say are from Colombia and then send them to Colombia. Colombia on their end actually has to verify and validate that these people are Colombian citizens. There's a process that they have to do before they just take people. You can't just go, well, y'all are Latino. We could just throw y'all all to the same place. Y'all all speak Spanish. It's fine, right? No, it doesn't work that way. And I think that this administration is not properly configured with competent people to be able to navigate the nuances of not only domestic politics but international relations. And I think that this administration is going to cause us to lose a lot of soft power, because Trump is literally acting like a toddler that just learned the word tariff. Whenever he doesn't get his outcome, he goes immediately to tariffs. Speaking of which, he's also announced tariffs from the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. They make
Mm.
90% of the chips that go in
Yep.
all the electronics around the
Hmm.
world. And he said 25% to 100% tariffs, which is insane. So think about a car. You remember when COVID happened? The supply chain was all jacked up because nobody could make chips. All of the chip production was offline because everyone had COVID and was sick. They had to go home. Yeah. Now add more money on top of that. Cars already went up during COVID. They're just gonna go up again. Cell phones are gonna go up again. Like, and then we
As
really
if they
need,
ever
I
went
think
down.
this next, honestly, if the Dems can get control over Congress again, we have to remove the power to unilaterally issue tariffs from the president.
Yeah.
We have to take it back.
Thank you, Daryl K, for coming over. We have a great time over here. I'm glad you're enjoying it. We do this on Tuesdays at 8:30, and we have our regular Run Your Mouths too. Um,
That's why we
but
came on
yeah,
the back. So we're not reliant on these external countries, because we do fear in the intelligence community. They do fear that China's going to, take Taiwan back. And if they take Taiwan back, then we're kind of beholden to China for the supply chain. And nobody
mm,
wants to be reliant on someone that they view as an adversary for the supply chain. And even with a semiconductor fab, it takes tens of billions of dollars to even get it started. I mean, we have, through the chip act, we're building one out in Arizona that's supposed to be cutting edge. But even still, we're not thinking that we're going to be able to produce chips at any sort of scale until 2027 at the earliest.
mm.
And you talking about 25 to 100% tariffs, like on chips, which go in electronics, which everybody buys. Everything's going to get more expensive. It's too much inflationary pressure. Like I'm terrified if this administration can actually get some of these gains because everything is going to go up drastically. We talking about eggs. Eggs is
Uh,
going to be the least of our worries.
but don't forget, we voted for the economy. That was the primary issue, right?
Oh, the economic uncertainty, economic anxiety, as I think
Yeah,
the
that's why people voted. Don't forget, that's why
right.
that was the number one issue, according to
And you know, Apple
the
gonna be happy anyway. Apple like, oh, the iPhone's going up. Cool, $2,000. I mean, guys, if you really want to know what really bad tariff policy looks like, please go look at Brazil and look at how much it costs to buy something in Brazil that is considered an electronic that's imported in. You will be absolutely shocked at how much they pay.
Hmm. Well, Cams, do you want to introduce, since we're talking tech, you want to introduce what's happening in the dark?
Oh, sure, 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 sure. So I found an article that I was talking to El Teddy about earlier, um, from one of my little go-to sites, where we recently found out that several memos that were distributed from the Office of Personnel Management to federal employees were authored by individuals with affiliation to conservative think tanks, notably the Heritage Foundation. um, the information was uncovered through metadata. So let's say, for instance, you write something on your computer and you send it to me. I can see that you're the author of this through the metadata. Um, so it's very, very concerning that James Shirk, who was previously associated with the Heritage Foundation, his name appears in the metadata for several of those memos. And Noah Peters, who's also been linked to several conservative organizations, he's identified as an author in the metadata of certain OPM communications as well. So this question, it's these external unelected parties that are influencing federal policy directly, right? It's coming from the mouth of the grifter, in my opinion. So a lot of these mandates are around terminations, hiring freezes, RTO mandates. A lot of these are very concerning because it should be someone that is, to me, a career federal employee that understands literally the nuances of the organization, what the mission is, who they serve, and what are those workflows and processes for RTO, because it just doesn't, not everyone is, I would consider it a customer facing role. So why do they need to be there? But the goal is to thin the herd, so to speak, make it as painful as possible for these federal employees to quit. And if you look at the Heritage Foundation, if you look at Project 2025, you look at, those two names that I mentioned earlier, you'll see that they've had a lot of papers or they've written about these are some of the policy outcomes that they would like to see under a Republican administration. So the truth is out there. You just have to read it.
Thank you, Bilo Didi, for your super chat. I think that even though these things are being authored by people outside of actual government agencies, and these are being authored by people directly connected to the Heritage Foundation and Project 2025, I can't escape the belief that they've been told to do this to keep someone's hands clean. If you get my drift. Also, how am I supposed to look at this when we've been talking about these federal funds being halted, and the guy Russell Voigt, however you pronounce his name, who they want to be who's the nominee to be in charge of the head the White House budget office and to oversee OMB. He is co-author of the freaking Project 2025, wrote the entire portion of Project 2025 that deals with the budget and federal funding. Like, how am I supposed to take these people seriously or believe that even if you tell me, we have news that it's not actual people in these federal agencies that doing it, these are people outside of federal agencies that are connected to alt-right groups and think tanks and all of these things, I can't help but think that's what they want. And then when somebody figures it out and calls them out on it, now they have plausible deniability. Oh my God. I didn't know that happened like that. We have to do something about that. Really? Really? I mean, hell, the Russell Voigt on his
I'm
uh,
sorry,
uh um
initialism, the acronym initialism.
on his uh 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 all of the Democrats gave made them fill out a written what do you call it, a written questionnaire
Questionnaire.
prior to
Hmm.
them being nominated, and the man came before they get in front of them and have the actual on air confirmation hearing, and in his response when asked was about the 2020 presidential election, the man wrote point blank, quote, I believe the 2020 election was rigged,
Right.
end of quote.
Yep.
That's what he wrote. These are the people that we're talking about.
But the White House press secretary said today they have no knowledge of Project 2025, even though several of them that have written it, some of them have already been
I
confirmed.
don't believe nothing that
Some
she
of them
said.
have already been confirmed.
That helper can tell me that today is Tuesday, and I might not
I'm
believe her.
checking the fucking calendar.
I'm gonna say, yeah, no, it's the day after Monday. Fuck you and your Tuesday. It's the day after fucking Monday. It's the day before Wednesday. Because it's something wrong with these people.
We don't live in the same reality, I think. And when you have allowed certain subsets of the population to believe that they're constantly victims and that these scapegoats that you identify, whether that be immigrants, whether that be black people, whether that be the woke agenda, whatever it is, if you give these people a target to hate, they will vote against their self interest every single time.
Which leads me to my next topic of the day. That's these immigration raids, right? So can I just be honest, Cam?
Mm-hmm.
And can I be honest with you all in the audience? Listen to me, people in the listening audience. Please listen and hear me good. Whether it's the Biden administration or the Trump administration, there is a collective thought in DC that they want to do harm to all immigrants. That it doesn't matter, Democrat, Republican, they don't mean well for immigrants. Shall I remind you that it was the Biden administration where we watched where they had CPB CBP agents whipping the Haitian migrants with the leather straps on the horses. The reins from the horses were being used to whip them. Remember, they had thousands and thousands and thousands of Haitians living underneath the overpass,
Overpasses.
and all of that. They didn't even have they wouldn't give them any shelter, running water. They wouldn't give any of the women any sanitary materials. They would have for every 2 or 3 thousand people one porta potty and inhumane things like this. That was the Biden administration. The same Biden administration that used millions of government dollars to have Haitian migrants flew to not just Haiti, to random countries all over the Caribbean and South America. They did that in the last administration.
I remember that live.
And I lost my mind
You
over
lost
here
your ever loving, as you should have though, because
because we had a Haitian American woman in the form of Corinne Jean Pierre that stood her ass up there at that goddamn podium in the White House press briefing room and tried to explain away how none of this was a problem. An actual Haitian American woman.
Mhm.
And I lost my mind over here. Y'all remember? And so what ends up happening is, because let's be clear, if you talk to the Dems, they're on board with a lot of the policies that the right wants to do with the with immigrants. The only, threading the needle they may do is, well, we don't think that you should be doing the raids. And let me tell you why they have a problem with them doing the raids, because the other side is petty. The other sides are doing raids on all of the blue cities, all of the blue areas, all of the sanctuary cities and stuff. So that's why they got a hard on for this administration and these raids. If these raids were happening in rural areas that were majority red districts, there wouldn't be an outcry. Just like there wasn't an outcry when it was the Haitians.
I think this goes back even further than that, though, El Teddy. When you look at who our current director of ICE is, it's Tom Homan, right?
Hmm.
He is
Technically,
known as
he's the director. He's the borders are. They didn't make him director of ICE because the actual director of ICE is someone else, because they didn't feel like Tom Homan would pass the would
that
get
nigga the director
confirmed.
of ICE. But anyway, that nigga the director of ICE. Now, mind you, he was the acting director of ICE under Trump from like
Yep.
January
Hmm.
2017, like middle of 2018, right? Um, he was doing the same, in the Obama administration. He was arguing that separating children from their parents would dissuade people from crossing the border. So when you want to talk about the family separations, all that good stuff, that's him. This is the same person that in February of 2022 joined the Heritage Foundation, contributed to Project 2025 specifically about immigration. So when these Republicans say, "I don't know anything about Project 2025," it's highly convenient that so many of these people that wrote critical cornerstones of Project 2025 are now acting within this fucking administration. And it's not a Democrat or Republican thing. Trump sucks on immigration. Biden sucked on immigration. Obama really fucking sucked on immigration.
Hmm.
And the same Obama that gave this fuck a presidential award for all the things that he did with immigration,
Hmm.
right? So it's not a oh no, this party's different. No, it's not, because immigrants are just people that they do not give a shit about. They want to exploit them for the sake of capitalism, and when they're done with these people, they want to send them back to their country. I think it's fucking disgusting. I do. I think it's disgusting. These are human beings, and we treat them with no sense of humanity. And it's sad that this sense of fear has spread in all of these cities because they're just popping up, kidnapping people. Really, you can call it detaining them under reasonable suspicion, but you're literally racially profiling and you're detaining people illegally against their will, and you're
I mean,
asking
we
them to
talked about the fact that Native Americans are being rounded up because stupid ass ICE agents can't tell the difference, or can't differentiate between whether somebody Latino, Arab American, Native American, or just a light skinned black person. They have no differentiation. These are the idiots that y'all have out there.
mind you, America is a nation of fucking immigrants. The fuck?
Hello, somebody.
And I don't like the term illegal immigrant. I don't like undocumented person. This is a fucking person that came here looking for a better life. They're working hard and they're really not getting shit from the federal government. They're giving to it though. If we really wanted to stop this problem with this quote unquote illegal immigration, use what we already have as a legal framework and go for these goddamn business owners. When you want to go for their ass, I guarantee you the behavior will fucking stop. But they don't want to do that. The cruelty is the point. And it's gross and it's sick. But then this is the same, country that was sicking dogs on us, hitting us
Yep.
with hose pipes. This is also the same country where when they would lynch us, they would have fucking picnics beneath our goddamn hanging corpse.
I mean,
This
we're
is
going
fucking
back to
nuts.
the day of show me your freedom papers. That's the fact that people are saying, make sure you carry your birth certificate with you, make sure you have your passport, is equating, is basically essentially taking us back to the days of having your freedom papers, and ICE is no more than what? The fucking slave patrol. Let's call it what it is.
You know what they really want to do? They just want to go back to Dred Scott. They want to go back there so bad. Because I'm gonna be honest, the ruling class has gotten so comfortable, this oligarchy that we have in this country, that they feel that they're entitled to continually accumulate wealth at the expense of the working class. They don't give a fuck who the working class is. They just know they need their goddamn money and they're not gonna work to get it. So if we gotta make people slaves again, so be it. It costs them less. They're all for it.
You know what you have? You have idiotic, stupid ass people on the right saying, "Well, I'm glad they getting rid of the illegal immigrants." And so when asked, "Well, what about those the jobs that they do?" You have people on the right saying dumb shit like, "Well, since they firing all of those government workers, then they got more people to go do those jobs that the illegal immigrants were doing." Really? That's what we're doing. That's really what we're doing today. This is the idiocy of these people. The idiocy of these people. I'm just saying. And if we really, now this could be a whole lie by itself. If we really want to really get to the root of the problem with people coming in this country, let's be clear. Everything happening in every country in the Western hemisphere has been caused and influenced directly by us. The problems that they're having over there is a direct effect of shit that we did and are currently still doing in these countries. And people are fleeing these countries because of problems initiated by the United States, its government, and its military.
And I will say, with that military thing, 2012, I was in Afghanistan wondering why the fuck we were there. Because, truth be told, 9/11 didn't have shit to do with folks from Afghanistan. It was them people from Saudi Arabia. So why weren't we over there dropping it?
Oh no, they're not going to Saudi Arabia.
I, I
Oh
wanted
dude,
I wanted to be dropping bombs like an outcast
mm-mm.
song. Bombs
Oh
over
they will.
Baghdad, indeed.
Oh no, they will not go to Saudi Arabia. Oh no, not Saudi Arabia.
Oh, or when we locked down all of the, national airspace, with the exception of, the president and some private plane that went off to Saudi Arabia
Conveniently.
conveniently. Yeah. And then like it's funny to me, like even like this current police state that we're in now, post 9/11, right? Or we could have stopped 9/11, but people just didn't share information because they wanted to be fiefdoms instead. So then we had this new DNI guy get invented, and then now we gave up all of our rights and privileges, warrantless wiretapping. We live in a police state. People just don't know it yet. Like every time these phone companies get hacked, the back door gets hacked too. So all your text messages, all your news, all that's out there anyway. Like who cares, right? One hack, whatever. It's just we're in a police state already, and people don't really. Now they're like, oh my god, we're in a police. We've been in one. We've been in a police state, but now the police state is being turned on you in a way that you can feel it through ICE. Now you feel it. It was passive before, and now it's active. So what do we do now?
Mm.
What's the resolution? Because they're arresting U.S. citizens.
Oh yeah.
They're arresting U.S. citizens,
Oh
and they're
yeah.
just like, hey, you better call, you better phone a friend and get your passport or your birth certificate over here stat. And who the hell carries their birth certificate? Like, who does that? I
Because
only
I'm
need
just
that shit
walking
once
around
on
with
this
my
damn
birth
job.
certificate.
And really, I just use my passport. And my passport stays in my safe. So let them pull up on me somewhere. I gotta figure it out.
Let's get to these firings on the federal level.
I will let you introduce that story.
So we have a lot of firings that are also going underneath under the cloak of darkness. Some very senior staff people are ceremoniously just getting fired. Mind you, federal employees have they have a they have a union. You there's no just, oh, I'm gonna just fire you. Okay,
I was in AFGE.
there's a union for federal employees. There's also federal statutes and things surrounding the firing of federal employees.
Correct. I.e.,
It's
there are
not
laws
just
in
that I
place.
get in here and we just do a clean sweep of everybody. That's not how this works. And I think the problem we keep coming back to again and again with these people is things don't work where you just say, well, we just firing everybody. That's not how things work at all, at all. But you got people doing it. So we had Gwen Wilcox. If you don't know who Gwen Wilcox I should say was at this point, but she's a
Is
senior oh, still is. She's a member and former chair of the National Labor Relations board. Now, if you don't know what the National Labor Relations Board, it would take a long time for us to explain to you. But the National Labor Relations Board is a government board that look think of like what your unions are supposed to do,
I got you.
or
I got you. I can explain it. I got you. I got you. So the NLRB is it's a part. It's a independent agency of the federal government, and they primarily enforce U.S. labor law in relation to collective bargaining and unfair labor practices.
that's why I was gonna say, think of what your union is supposed to do for you on your job, but think of it like on the national or federal level. It's supposed to say, y'all can't do that. That's against federal law. Nope, that's not what is collectively bargained. Nope, that's not. Mm-mm.
And
So
the,
she,
the importance behind this already is because you know there've already been lawsuits against NLRB arguing their constitutionality from Starbucks. Starbucks has sued them because they get in Starbucks' ass when you collectively bargain. When you agree to stand up a union, the business cannot then go and close that entire location. That's a form of retaliation that is illegal. They cannot do that. So that's why Starbucks been after their ass. Amazon's been after their ass. And I don't know if y'all saw, but a certain founder of Amazon was right in the front above the cabinet members at the inauguration. How convenient, how interesting, right? But the story behind this is that orange dude fired her, and she's the current chair of the NLRB. She was appointed by Biden. She's the first black woman to ever serve on the NLRB. Her term is not up until August of 28. Everyone's called the firing unprecedented. They've called it illegal. And the real deal here is he only fired her, right? They no longer have quorum, so they can no longer conduct business. So if you're going to them complaining about, retaliation, illegal practices against your union, unfair, workplace items that are going on, they can't do anything about it because they don't have the quorum to function. So it's very deliberate that this is an attack on worker rights, which is
also
also in Project 2025.
you have the firing of two of the commissioners on the Equal Employment Opportunity U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commissions. That happened yesterday, where you had Charlotte Burrows, as well as uh, uh, um, what's the other lady name? Jennifer Abruzzo. They got fired, which now is causing issues for that commission, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. All of these things and all of these entities where you start to see these firings are politically based. These are to benefit his billionaire friends. His billionaire friends, these entities, these conglomerates, these billion and trillionaire companies, they don't want employee rights. They don't want unions. They don't want federal agencies stepping in and telling a private company what they can and cannot do to their employees. Left to themselves, there would be no labor laws. Hell, we have in states like Arkansas where Governor Quasimodo, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who ceremoniously did away with child labor laws. Shall we forget that?
It's actually
So,
it's a thing that's happening across the Midwest. Actually, I was not too far behind, and like, I really want us to really take this into account. Regulations are written in blood. People died for those regulations to be in place.
mhm.
Um, like I don't want to go back to the early 1900s where you had kids as young as fucking 5 crawling in mines, working a full shift. I don't want that to be the reality of our future generations. I don't, because this country's ruling class has already ruined mine. Like our generation will never be able to afford anything that prior generations were. But I'm not done fighting the good fight. I'm not going to let these future generations get fucked over. Not to line somebody else's pockets. Absolutely the fuck not.
And everything that there's nothing that's being done. They will say with their mouths, "We're doing. We were mandated by the American people to do dot 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 dot. We're doing the will of the people. The will of the people." I cannot even wrap my brains around. Even those staunch MAGA nuts. There's no way for me to wrap my brains around you saying that they're willingly saying only do things for billionaires. Fuck the rest of us down here. You just can't make me believe that somebody's going to do that. That's just not going to be a thing that I'm going to wrap my brain around. And so what is being shown to these people now, they're going to willfully ignore what's right in their face. They're not going to believe their lying eyes, of course. But when this man is showing you time after time, I don't give a damn about you. I don't give a damn about how y'all feel, because my billionaire friends can afford eggs no matter the price. My billionaire friends can afford anything they want. So we don't give a damn. Oh, we're going to take out all of the rules with regard to work relations, with regard to making sure that you are protected so you can continue to earn a living. Because once they take all of these rules out of the way, everybody becomes a right to work state where nobody's going to be able to strike, where they will be able to fire you at will for whatever reason, for any cause.
And
You came in today, I don't like the color of your dress today. Baby, going on home. That's it. That's all.
the thing is, this also ties back into the 17 inspectors general that were fired across the DoD, Department of State, Interior, Transportation, and the VA. Right. So the thing that we really need to look at here is the Inspector General Act of 1978. That created the Inspector General position, and it defined what their powers are. They have the ability to investigate fraud, waste, and abuse. When the goal is to privatize the losses and socialize the gains, i.e., to rob the government, you want to get rid of these people.
Okay, here's the irony, right? One day you fire all the IGs. Within the next 48 hours, you say, "Oh,
We
we're
finna freeze the
pausing
money.
federal spending to figure out where there's waste." When you literally just fired the people whose job it is, you were never trying to see where federal waste was. Come on now,
And I'm gonna be honest. When I was a federal employee, we never wanted to see IG coming because they were gonna get up in there, and
like,
they did their job. That
like
is
the
what
shit
they
is
were there to do.
laughable. These people are not, they literally fired the people who were not political. They were not, Republican, Democrat. They had a job, which was to say, nope, you wasted money. Nope, you shouldn't be doing that. Nope, you fire all the people whose job it is to inspect federal waste and whether or not the money is being spent correctly. And then within 48 hours of doing that, you say, oh, well, we're just going to put a pause on federal spending until we figure out whether or not there's any waste in anything after we fired all the people who did that job. I just want you to make this make sense. In the same way that you're firing all, that you're doing the bidding, not only of these billionaire uh, 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 CEOs and C suites, also of your Republican MAGA nut governors that are stripping our rights. I talked about Governor Quasimodo stripping child labor laws. We have in Texas and in Florida, two of the hottest states in the country, where now they have laws in place that says you can't put mandates on water breaks if it's too hot outside for the employees.
And they're in Texas and Florida right now, where they've passed those types of
They
laws.
passed both of those laws in Texas and in Florida.
Yeah. And then I also want to say this too. That Inspector General Act of 1978. There was a further amendment. It was when I was in college. I graduated in 2010, so sometime before then, right? Where it actually created an umbrella agency of, what is it called? Hold on, give me a second. Council of the Inspectors General on Integrity and Efficiency. Integrity and efficiency. Because again, they look at fraud, waste, and abuse. So if there's wasteful spending, processes are not doing what they're supposed to do, we don't have the intended effect and outcome, they can then give policy recommendations to improve that government agency so that it's better at providing services to its constituents and the recipients of that,
The
right?
biggest red herring in the world is this fictitious Department of Government Efficiency when
Boom, there
there
you
are
go.
already where there are already departments within the federal government whose job it is to, you know, to regulate government and determine government efficiency. There's already departments in place. The real thing was they never wanted to look at government efficiency. They wanted to see how they could siphon federal funds into their coffers and into the coffers of their friends who have money. This ain't have a goddamn thing to do about government efficiency when there are already departments that do that, who have that job. You really think that we have a federal government who has a tr- trillion plus dollar budget and there's nowhere in there where there's anybody, trying to regulate government efficiency? You really just think that?
But when you think government's the problem, you'll convince yourself of anything. Because government's the problem, i.e., the government is getting in my way because I can't abuse people and pillage and profit off of other people's labor. Like that's really what it is.
And see, the government was a problem for the people with the infinity stones. Those that may have had four infinity stones, they were told the immigrants were the problems. The trans people and the immigrants are the problems, and that's why you need to get rid of government. If you got all five infinity stones, you needed to do away with the government. If you only have four, they told you things that they thought would get your vote so that they could go and steal your money. So they put up illegal immigrants and the trans community as the red herring so that you didn't pay attention to. They were putting things in place to take your money.
And speaking of the trans community that recently signed executive order banning trans people from serving in the United States military. What are your thoughts on that?
First of all, if I'm to take these people from their word, because I read the first executive order that was signed on January 20th, saying that you are the sex that you are at conception. Newsflash, idiot! Every human being is a female at conception. You stupid ass dick fuck. At conception, we all have XX chromosomes, which makes us fucking female. You stupid ass dick fuck. But they wrote that into the fucking executive order because you have fucking idiots just doing shit just to do it, just because they want to see what they can get away with.
And then
Because
it says
if
says
I'm
that they're
somebody,
unfit to serve.
if I'm somebody who wants to go and be petty, I'm taking you to court for your own executive order. Because wouldn't that make you trans, Mr. President? Since we all were born female, right?
Well,
Since
that's
we're going with the gender at conception, right? Wouldn't that mean that you were a female, sir? Or ma'am, I should say? This is the idiocy that we have going on here. Now, I know I sound real stupid right now, but this is the buffoonery that we have going on. And I promise you, we heard this all during the Senate Armed Services Committee when they were doing confirmation hearings for Pete Hegseth. There has been no reduction in terms of qualifying examinations, trainings, or any of that sort with inside of the military ranks. Whatever you it takes to be a green beret, it takes to be a green beret. Whether you black, white, blue, or purple, whatever your chromosomes are, or whatever you identify as, the rules is the rules. This is what it is. They're not lessening it to
no.
get a certain numbers
The
in.
standard is the
The
standard.
standard is a fucking standard. If you can't make the standard, you're not going to be over there. That's how this works.
And I think it's also important too, where me just being a veteran, I was a part of that cohort where I was in an infantry unit. We started getting women in the unit. Guess what? The world didn't end, because at the end of the day, you're there to do a job and go the hell home. None of us cared about that. We want to do the least amount of work possible and go home as early as possible. That's what we really wanted to do. Okay? If we could do that efficiently and then disappear, so be it. We didn't care if somebody had titties at the top and dick at the bottom. We didn't give a shit about that. Can you do
Okay.
your damn job? Because I don't want anything adding extra work for me. So as long as you do what you need to do and I do what I need to do, we can both go home at 5. Bet. Let's get this done so we can go home. That's what most of these people are concerned with in the military, to be quite frank, and when payday is. You know, damn about they don't care what you want to be called. Look, because you calling people by their last name.
Exactly.
I'm not calling
Exactly.
you by your preferred pronoun. I'm using your last name. I'm looking at that name tape. That's what I'm reading off. I don't care about that. If I need to salute you, I need to salute you. Okay. However, I need to call you by your rank of your last name. That's what I'm doing. And then we're moving on. And it's also important to note that when he signs these executive orders, like, you're using sex now and not gender on federal documents. So for passports, that's now shut down. So if your state documentation shows something, but the passport doesn't, now what? Also, with Real ID being enacted, in May of this year,
Mm-hmm.
what the hell are you gonna do? You're just not gonna be able to get on a flight because you can't change that, because Real ID is federal. That's not a state driven initiative. So it doesn't impact state documentation, but federal documentation it does. And what about those people that consider themselves non-binary? I'm dating someone that's non-binary. It's an X on their driver's license. It's a real ID, but what happens when it's time for renewal under this administration's executive order? What happens now? This is the part that I don't like about this administration. There's no fucking thought. They don't give a fuck. They don't look at the entire picture. They just push their ideological viewpoint via EO. And then now people are scrambling to figure out what the fuck does this mean for all of these other things that are already moving. There's too many moving pieces here.
You hit the nail on the head. These people just do shit to see what they can get away with. Do not think it through at all. They do not think these things through at all. At all. And they can, because they have the benefit of wealth and privilege and access, it doesn't affect them. But those us down here on the ground level, we end up having to bear the brunt of all of the fuck shit, to bear the brunt of
And you
all
know,
of
when
it.
you look like us, you're gonna bear it anyway. They
Hmm.
hate us. It's a special sort of hatred. Y'all weren't supposed to get away. Y'all was still supposed to be working while we sitting up in the house not doing shit, making money. I read the White Book. Getting away was not a chapter. It wasn't. And so, like, when we think like, oh, this stuff doesn't impact me, this doesn't affect me, they're gonna go for this one marginalized group first. And you know, they like you said, it's immigrants right now and it's trans people. But we've already seen what Idaho trying to do. We already see it. They trying to roll back gay marriage. Hell, they rolling back DEI. People not participating in Pride no more. Like, wake up. It it's enough pain to go around for everybody.
is
Look,
is
I read Project 2025, baby. The cruelty is the point.
mm-hmm. I'm,
And the funny thing is a fucking mediocre ass 34-time convicted felon. That's the figurehead for these people.
what's going to happen is you're going to have less people. They've already had deficits in recruiting for the military over the last 10 years, right?
Don't nobody want to be in that shit.
And then to add insult to injury, you have a president and a State Department that's going all over the place, getting us possibly into multiple situations that will require military armament, military deployment. And then to add insult to injury, you want to alienate and piss off allies who now will say, you on your own. You want to go on over there? Go, let me know how that works out.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Like,
I mean, Sergeant Bone Spurs, I'm sure he'll reenact the, I mean, in a twisted fate, he'll be the president that'll reenact the draft, Sergeant Bone Spurs, Colonel Bone Spurs.
I'm not gonna insult the people I know to hold those ranks. Convicted felon Bone Spurs.
Right. I mean,
It's insane to me because we realize that the Vietnam War and the draft was deeply unpopular. Deeply unpopular. And another thing that people don't really realize either is like just me going to the VA as often as I do, I'm one of the youngest people that go. The youngest people, right? How they treated those Vietnam vets, how they treat vets now. I tell everybody, oh, do you think I should join? Hell no. Hell no. I don't think you should join. Because honestly, they're going to break your body down. You'll never be 100% again. And there's a long psychological journey that you have to come to terms with. You will never be 100% again. Your body will never be able to do the things that it was able to do before you joined.
I think the VA does things to make people worse. I promise you they do. I promise you, I watched it with my grandfather. My granddad, we used to take him, as long as we was taking him to the VA, he got worse. Soon as we took him to a private doctor that had nothing to do with the VA, everything magically started getting better.
It's really funny that you say that because I actually work for the Department of Veteran Affairs under one of their little agencies. And the famous thing that people said about the VA is delay, deny, and hope they die. They're going to delay your care. They're going to deny your claim enough, and they hope you die. So they got to make that one payment and they keep it pushing. I'm
You know,
serious. Delay, deny, and hope they die.
everybody who I know in the that's a military vet, and I'm in organizations with tons of all I'm around is military vets. Their whole thing is I'm just trying to get my 100. I had a guy who got his 100 and then they put him back down. He had like 100 for like
Yeah,
8 years and
they
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 took
they
him
fear
out
reduce
and
you.
put him down, reduced him to like 80 or 90. He was pissed.
Here's the funny thing about my little VA. I'm at 90, right? And I rightfully should be at 100. I mean, it is what it is. If it's in your medical records, they have to give it to you. They suspected that I had sleep apnea for fucking ever when I was in the military, right? And you know why they denied it? Oh, you didn't have a test while you were on active duty. Bitch, do you know how hard it is to get specialty care in the fucking military? Oh, you want to cardiology? No, you're not going there. Sleep study? You're not doing that.
Hmm.
Because honestly, your command had to sign off. Oh no, we're going to be in the field. You can't do that. Oh no, we have this going on. You can't do that. So if it's never fully approved, they can say that the nexus has not been established. There's no connection between your current condition and the health condition that you were while you were on active duty. And trust me, I adjudicated claims. And me working for the Veterans Benefit Administration, I saw exactly the rates at which black veterans were denied. I ain't gonna even hold you. Black veterans got denied a hell of a lot more than everybody else.
Oh, we know that. That
I
we
said it.
know.
UCMJ, it's not uniform because black people got the worst part of it. If it's your first time smoking marijuana, you black, bye nigga, bad conduct discharge. White people, oh, I see myself in him. I made those mistakes when I was younger. We're just gonna reduce you in rank, okay? We're gonna give you another chance to really redeem, show us who you are on the inside, and show that you have everything that it takes to be a successful service member. Get the fuck out.
That's why when I see fuck boys like the Pete Hegsets of the world and some of these other people that that you know try to make everything off their military career, you start to talk to people and they say, "Nah, I already see who he is, and I already he wasn't about that life." Because everybody who I talk to from the they say, "Yeah, mm-mm." They
Tracy,
say the same thing about JD Vance that they say about Pete Hegseth.
Pete
Yeah, he
has.
won. Yeah. Mm.
You can pull up the information. Pete Higgs ain't do this shit. I mean, he ain't did shit, right? And Tracy, like to your point, like the opiate crisis, the military was behind quite a bit of it because after I got blown up in Afghanistan, I was prescribed opiates for my back pain. Nobody told me that they were that addictive. Nobody told me that because if had I known that, I would have been like, I don't want those. Girl, I ain't have another. I was popping them
I'm
things.
not going to even put
Yeah.
that comment up, Tracy. Listen,
Run me
what
my
we got
cooch or
left?
run me my coins. Do you
Okay, run me my cooch or run me my coins. What we got left? Oh God, we got. Do we have to talk about this, young man? Oh dear
do you want to look? It's tomorrow. I feel like it's important.
God. Okay, we have the confirmation hearings beginning tomorrow for Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
AKA Voldemort.
to be confirmed as Secretary of HHS. His family is coming out dog walking him. Please be clear. I mean, he's getting monkey stomped by his family. His cousin, Carolyn Kennedy, she's written letters to members of Congress that will be on the committee um, charged with doing the confirmation hearings. And can I just say this about the confirmation hearings?
Daughter of President Kennedy, Caroline Kennedy. I just want to
These confirmation hearings, when I watch some of these confirmation hearings, sometimes they're just maddening. I'm telling you, for example, when they had the Hegseth hearing, and one of the Republicans, his question was, "Oh, my only question for you is, tell me if you love your wife." And then he went on a 6 minute 45 second tangent about the previous administration. Like, this is the fuck shit that we be having going on in these confirmation hearings, which is why I get so incensed when we get to these hearings. Y'all hear the bullshit even before they get to the hearing. They tell you, I'm here to follow whatever the president want me to do. I'm gonna do whatever he want me to do. Damn the Constitution, damn precedent, damn laws, damn anything. I'm doing whatever the president tells me to do. And you still have fucking Democrats that vote to confirm, that vote to advance the nomination for a vote, and then even vote to confirm. That's the shit that pisses me off. Because the shit that we about to hear from Robert F. Kennedy, mind you, who preaches according to his cousin, his cousin said he was telling y'all shouldn't go get vaccines. None of your children should get vaccines, but he made sure all his
Is
children
he
got.
vaccinated? Mind you, I'm also tired of him. He doesn't directly say it. He hints at it like vaccines cause autism. Why your kids aren't autistic then? Why your kids aren't autistic then? And really, what's wrong with a child being autistic? Like, it is what it is, right? But I did actually find some recent studies because I was dragging somebody on the internet today about it, because you know where they think the link to autism is actually from? Microplastics. BPA to be exact. Children with autism had way higher levels of BPA in their urine than those that were neurotypical. You think we finna get rid of all this plastic? You think these businesses finna eat that cost? Hell no. They not. So it's easier to blame something. Oh, well, vaccines cause autism. No, the fuck they don't. Get out of here with that Jenny Jump, whatever that Jenny lady was that was on that crazy ass bitch. Like, it doesn't cause that. But like, you have over 15,000 physicians have signed a letter urging them not to confirm Robert Kennedy.
And
Even with
yet we're
all of
here.
this backlash, predictions show there's an 80% chance he's going to be confirmed. I don't like. He recently came out and said he wanted to ban high fructose corn syrup, which I 100% agree with, to be quite frank. That's why I think that's what would torpedo him, actually. Those Midwestern senators that grow corn, okay, they're not going to lose all of that money that they get from those corn sales, and then the creation of HFCS. I just don't think that that's going to happen. But it's one to watch because this is important. Like, and also he might get voted down because he actually is pro-choice, and some Republican senators have an issue with his stance on abortion.
I'm telling you what's about to happen. He's going through. You want to know why? Because even if you do have a few Republican defectors, there are going to be enough Democrats that support him.
Well, to be honest, the same three that didn't support Hegseth are going to be they are rumored to be voting against RFK. Mitch McConnell, Susan Collins, Lisa
And Lisa
Murkowski.
Murkowski.
They're all expected to vote against him. I think he's going to be going through too. But hey, if he can ban that high fructose corn syrup, baby, hey, make it do what it do. I have my vaccines though, so I'm not really worried about that. But I am worried about those vulnerable populations that cannot get vaccinated for things beyond their control, whether it's compromised immune system, whether it's an allergy to whatever is in the vaccine. I do fear for those, which is why I was so willing to get the COVID vaccine to protect those that are more vulnerable, because we need to have herd immunity for some of these things. Herd immunity is going down. TB outbreak going crazy.
I just talked about that over there in Kansas.
We're gonna have the bubonic plague because the bubonic plague ain't gone. Just so you know, It's not gone. And one lady in
Polio's on the
Washington had
rise.
active TB for how long? And they threw her in jail. Like, you have TB. You know that you're infectious. You still going to work, riding a bus. So I think that kind of behavior is gonna get worse if he's confirmed. But hey, you know, measles. Look, measles and polio and the Hasidic Jewish community in New York.
Mind you, when they were stopping federal funding, one of the concerns was at the CDC. A lot of their funding comes from federal grants and funding, and things like mpox. That's for those of us down to the, not just those of us down here at the Rainbow Coalition compound, because they seem to think that's just a gay disease. You know what I'm saying? But there are a whole lot of other things that they were actively doing research on, HIV research on a whole lot of stuff that cancer research, a whole lot of stuff that we're doing important work on, that there are grants on. And we're talking about a double-edged sword where you have them wanting to remove federal funding or put people in place who wholesalely don't think we should be doing any of that.
And here's the funny thing, right? Here's the thing. They pride themselves on this sense of American exceptionalism. And the ironic part is,
Alzheimer's, thank you for that, Sam A.
the ironic part is, by regressing us, because that's what they are. They're regressivists at this point. They're not conserving shit. They're just regressing us back. We are ceding the lead in so many different industries to other countries because they're going to continue to invest. And we're showing the world we are not a reliable partner nation.
Well,
That's what this is doing. And I also want to say the reason I really don't fuck with Robert F. Kennedy, when they had the measles outbreak in 2019 in Samoa, he was spreading misinformation so that those people there, like, they were just like, oh yeah, and it's fine. So vaccinations didn't happen as they were supposed to have happened. There were 83 fatalities, and what really pissed me off is that a majority of those, it was predominantly children that were under 5 years old. And I might be team fuck them kids all day, but I do not think that children should suffer for the decisions, the misinformation, the propaganda that people that are fucking vaccinated and who know better. I have a problem with that. I do.
uh,
I think that
to
he's dangerous.
to go there with that, Harold, one of the other things, like I said, these people just do stuff and don't know what they're doing. Technically, we can't pull out of the WHO like that. It doesn't work like that. The president just can't say, I'm pulling us out of WHO, because there's a whole process for doing that. You have to give them a whole year notice. You're still obligated for all of the money and funding of WHO, even, up to a certain amount of time, even after you're out of it. All of these things have provisos and processes in place. You can't just say, oh, we're not a part of WHO anymore. That's not how this works. But here we are. Here we are. But I'll be watching the confirmation, well, the parts that I can. I'll be watching it because by the time I get to the airport and on the plane, it should be over. So I'll be watching it.
So, we said science is a problem for, years on the right side in this country, and now there's going to be no goddamn science. But y'all want everybody to do this STEM shit, but you don't believe in fucking science at all. Like, it's crazy. You don't want to fund any of the liberal arts, only STEM, right? They preach that all damn day, but then fuck science when it actually counts.
I mean, according to Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk, we're too dumb even for STEM, so I don't even know why they're trying to promote that. We're too dumb for words.
First of all, what the fuck has Elon Musk done?
That's a great question. That'd be a great question.
Because he didn't found Tesla. No, he didn't. He paid the people that created the shit off.
Sure did.
That's what he does for a lot of it.
He's
I'm like,
never founded anything.
he has a degree in fucking economics or some shit. Mind you, he got his degree after I did. The fuck? You got your degree like 26. Shut the fuck up. You're not some goddamn modern Tony Stark. Who told you that? People should have known he was full of shit when he designed that goddamn Cybertruck on a fucking napkin and they made that exact same goddamn truck. The reason why SpaceX is as successful as it is, there are teams that are their only job is to keep that motherfucker occupied so the business can keep making some goddamn money.
Mm. Well, do you want to introduce our last subject, which is the Republicans infighting?
Oh yes, the wonderful Republican caucus, it's fighting, and not for the reasons why you may think, pupils. The reason why they arguing, it's so funny. Um, they don't know how to finance the president's tax cuts, so they're arguing over what shit they need to cut, i.e., who can we fuck over and it's not too much blowback. That's what the argument is right now between these Republicans in Congress, and I find it hilarious. So we under a Republican administration, we always fuck over the middle class, the poor people. We only really want to benefit the 1%. So we want to give these billionaires permanent tax cuts again. How do we make that happen? They don't want to add some of the fiscal conservatives. They're like, hey, I don't mind no tax cuts now, but we have to offset this so that we don't cause a deficit, which is so interesting. Because the tax agenda as it stands now is gonna add $10 trillion to the deficit. 10 trillion. I mean, they don't have to pay it. Who gives a fuck, right? It's, I mean, some current unborn generation, they ain't gonna be able to do shit, but who cares, right? We're not gonna be able to see that. We're gonna vote for a future that we're not gonna see. So the big discussion is safety net programs, your Medicaid, your SNAP. President Trump has emphasized that he does not want Social Security or Medicare to be touched. How you make this happen, I don't know. Some of the things that they've said is, hey, let's increase fees for migrants seeking asylum. Let's cut social services for newly arrived immigrants. That's not going to offset the cost. Trump is saying, like, hey, the taxes can do it. No.
The tariffs. No,
The
no, he said
tariffs,
tariffs
excuse me, the
can do it.
tariffs. Tariffs don't work that way. Um, so if we have a certain amount of household spending, okay, if El Teddy and I are a dual income household, we
Because we
both
get
making
married,
over
y'all.
a
We
hundred
get
K.
married. We get
We both
married, y'all.
can't then say, fuck this high stress job. We finna go do some minimum wage shit
Kamz,
and
we
then
only got like
continue
a
to
few more
spend
months
the
to get
money.
married for our marriage license to be upheld before they get rid of marriage equality. When we
Yeah.
doing this?
Look, I've been married twice. I don't know if I do that shit again, to be quite frank. But the legislative strategy, like Mike Johnson, the weakest speaker in House history, he wants to do one bill. He wants to do one bill.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen because, like,
They don't have the vote. Listen, let's be clear.
they ain't got the fucking
I
vote.
do not expect anything with regard to spending to make it out of the House.
Mm-mm.
Nothing. That
No.
as much as they call the Democratic Party a Big Tent, and how do you get all of those people to get come together? That shit over there is not a big tent. It's a three-ring circus. There are three tents over there. Okay, like there's
Mhm.
no way. I ventured. I'd be willing to bet my bank account right now that they are not going to get anything out of that Republican House. They have too much going on. They spending, they are never going to come to an agreement on that. Ever. And the sad part is these people are taking their marching orders from a bastard that's never been able to balance a budget, that's never been able to keep a business afloat, that's never been able to do anything fiscally responsible, that has no clue of what appropriate spending is. None at all. And this is who they're taking their marching orders from. You have in terms of the Republican Party, they are most fractured when they talk about spending. That is, if there's
And I love it.
anything that they're most fractured about, it is spending. There's no way, shape, form, or fashion you expect me. Even when Donald John tries to start throwing out the, oh, we'll have you primaried if you don't fall in line, even that's not going to even get these people to fall in line. It's not going to happen. It's only 218 to 215.
And
That's all. That's the
and that
lead right now.
218, it is very fractured. It is. When it comes to spending, you're absolutely right, because I think some of these representatives go like, "Whoa, whoa, this is gonna harm my constituents. Like, why would I vote for that? Like, what's in it for me?" A lot
Even
of
if
them are willing to sit. A lot of them are gonna vote present, to be honest.
and even for nerds like me that do nerdy stuff like watch House Appropriations Committee meetings because I don't have nothing else to do with my time. But even on the right side, they're arguing on their own side about stuff in the Appropriations Committee. That's how fractured they are about spending, even on their side. Even before they get to the left, just on their side, they're all over the place.
Ronald, budget reconciliation. It doesn't really matter in the House. I'm gonna be honest, because there's not a supermajority requirement in the House, so it really only matters in the Senate. Basically, it's a parliamentary procedure set up to expedite passing the federal budget legislation in the Senate. So what that means is the reconciliation overrides filibuster rules, which will require a 60-person vote. Um, Bills described as reconciliation can be passed by a simple majority vote of 51 or 50 votes plus the vice president's tiebreaker. Um, because of the amount of fucking gridlock that's normally happened in the Senate, reconciliation matters a lot more. I don't know how much it's going to matter now that the Republicans just have the majority, but shit, we'll see. I don't fucking know. But they can only pass, I want to say, 3 reconciliation bills a year.
I thought it was 3 within that seated Congress, but you're
Yeah.
probably right in a year. I thought it was 3 in that seated Congress, meaning 2 every 2 years. But I could be wrong on that.
Okay.
I'll defer to you. I'll
No,
defer to you on that.
it's spending. It's spending, revenue, and then the federal debt limit. Spending, revenue, and then so they can pass 1 bill a year affecting each subject. The way the Senate has traditionally done it, they try to combine all 3 of them.
But like I said, the problem is going to be how they're going to get anything done out of the House.
Then, if you look at the Byrd rule, it prohibits reconciliation bills from adding to the federal deficit after a 10-year period, or to make changes to Social Security. So any changes to Social Security cannot go through reconciliation.
Nothing's going to get done.
But reconciliation was created in the Congressional Budget Act of 1974, and it was first used in 1980, actually. It's bullshit, but hey, it's what we got. It's what we got. I think what was the most recent one? The Inflation Reduction Act of 2022. Was that the most recent thing passed through
Yep.
reconciliation? Yeah.
I fully expect that the Dems are going to bend over and take it. They're going to have
You know,
defectors.
Fetterman gonna bend over that goddamn.
Yeah. These things happen. I just, Jesus God. Slot Slotkin has really been disappointing me with some
I
of her
don't know why
recent.
she disappoints you. She was in the CIA.
Listen, I don't know Slotkin like that. Like
I don't, she was
I
in the
don't know her like
CIA.
that.
When you think about it from the terms of she was in the CIA, a lot of her
Mm,
votes make sense.
mm.
I ain't never. Well, I mean, I look. Shout out to my friends that are in the intelligence community. Still, I don't trust any of you. Thank you.
Shout out. Well, I almost called out. Oh, I have to tell you backstage about. Well, I can't even tell that person because they're so deep in. If I even told their connection to me, I would get them in a lot of trouble. Oh dear God, I almost said that out loud. Oh, I want to get you in
I still
trouble,
know people over at DISA. Shout out to DISA.
child. No,
No,
I
she's
don't even
not.
consider her a
No,
liberal.
she's not.
Liberal.
No, she's not.
I don't consider
Nope.
her a liberal. Liberal. Not with her voting pattern.
Nope.
Chimera.
Mm-mm.
Anyway, that is that's the whole dossier for today. We about to going on down to the members only chat where we act up and me and Hero about to fight. Y'all going on down to the members only chat. Me and Hero about to have a whole fight down to the members only chat. Have a good time tonight listen, it's about to go down. Get ready, Harold. I'm about to fuck you up. Yeah, we about to go to the members
I
only
thought
chat
y'all was
and
about to
play
fight
around.
yesterday. I'm glad we had some peace.
The members only chat done blew up today. The members only chat done blew up today. Okay. They been all up in the everybody done got acclimated to the Discord now.
Right. They want
So
to do all of
everybody
that when I actually
at,
got to work at work.
at first everybody was like, I don't know if I could do this.
I
It
love this.
seemed hard. They done got acclimated now. That's dangerous. Now they about to be they about to be out of control over there down to the members only chat. Shout out to the members. Anyway, thank y'all so much. We have had a consistent 50 plus in the chat a good deal of the day today. And I am eternally grateful to you all for being over here with us. We do this on Tuesdays at 8:30 when Cam's acting right. And
I had the damn flu last week. What do you want?
I want your body next to mine.
I
Um,
have a partner.
I don't care about him,
Please,
her. I don't care about them.
please respect my relationship.
I respect it enough to know better.
Okay, that was a good one.
Anyway,
That was a
we'll
good
be back here next Tuesday at 8:30 doing the damn thing. I'll be back. Listen, what I might try to do tomorrow is I might go live from the airport. So if you see me go live at my regular run your mouth time, I'm at the airport at 5 o'clock waiting for my flight. The problem is the terminal that I'm in is not the terminal where the Sky Club is.
What terminal you at? To fly out.
I think they have me at B.
Oh, I don't like. I only, to be honest, when I do fly through your home airport, I only want to be in the F terminal.
So
I only want to be in the F terminal. But also, for those of you that are members that are in the Discord, if you see some things that you want us to talk about, do so. Also, if there's some things you know you're gonna have some questions for, come on, let us know. Like we would love to get some more questions. Let's make this a little bit more interactive. If there's something that we're talking about, be like, what the hell y'all
look at
talking
this.
about?
Look at this mess. Look at this mess. I promise you, you ain't gonna make my mouth look like ketchup. Come over here, ho. Bring that shit, ho. You ain't gonna make my mouth look like ketchup. You ain't about this life. Bring it.
Now you can't be talking about Harold. Everybody love
I don't
Harold.
care
Now.
about Harold.
We can't be fighting Harold. Everybody love Harold.
Harold fought me first. He threw the first blow. So I was
Over Jimmy
submissive.
Butler at that, which to me is all
He
right.
threw the first blow.
Look,
Look at Paul. Look at Paul.
Harold, I didn't even think that was your type. I thought you preferred them a little bit more vintage, aged, if you will, a little seasoned. Do you know what I'm saying?
Ciao.
Look, I thought Harold liked it a little salt and pepper,
Child.
a little
Harold don't want
damage.
this. Harold don't want it. He don't want it.
Look, I don't fight for some damn Miami. Y'all always got a knife or some shit.
Do
Y'all always got a little knife or a razor blade in y'all mouth. Uh-uh.
there's an art form to being able to keep the razor blade in your
Harold,
mouth and
I
not
really
get
need
cut.
to. You know what, Harold? We need to discuss what's your type because you know what? I think we need to have a new segment, finding Harold love. Like I really want to. Maybe we need to set up some pop the balloon situations for Harold.
Don't nobody care about Harold.
Everybody love Harold. If you don't realize that, I'm something wrong with you.
I
Everybody
don't
love
care
Harold.
about y'all.
You do.
I love y'all.
I mean, this is my little online community. I stumbled upon you via serendipity, and I've just stayed. You know, I'm here to stay, at least
We
until the
can't
ice
get rid
breaks.
of you.
That's all.
We can't get rid of you now.
No, you can get. You can get rid of me. I can be paid off now.
Oh, paid off is
I
what
can be paid off.
happened. It's only through payment.
Look, I have to retire eventually. Damn.
Mm, mm.
I'm not trying to work to no damn 70, whatever the hell they're trying to raise this shit to. I'll be
They
damn.
keep you see they keep raising it. It
I'll
went
be
from
damn.
62 to 67. Now they talking about 70. I'm not here for this shit.
My mom is retired now and she retired early. Bitch, if I can't do the same thing, I'm burning something. Look, I'm leaving with something.
Mm, mm,
There will be collateral damage.
mm. Well, we got to get out of here. We going down to the members only chat. You have any last things to say to the people, Kamz? We've been on here 2 hours. I told you I was gonna make it.
Look, stay black, baby. That's all we can do. Stay black and fight these hoes. That's all I got for you. Cause I'm a retired crash out and I'm coming out of retirement.
Mm.
What you got for the people?
I listen. If you see me, look for me. If you don't see me, then don't look for me. That's all I got.
So you gonna be at that man
Anyway,
house. Okay, anyway.
um, I don't know how you found me either, Ronald, but we glad you here.
I
Hmm.
actually I found you guys through Spit Boy.
Oh,
That's how,
okay.
that's how I found you guys, actually. Because I was following James just based off of the reviews, and then Treasure Kids, and I was like, wait, these people are kind of funny, witty, cool. And then I started checking out channels, subscribed, and just stayed.
Yeah, we have a good time. I'm gonna get back on my review kicks.
We
I've
still
had
supposed to be having some damn meet and
somebody
greet.
sent me a message the other day. It was a long DM on Instagram and said, I really miss your reviews and your in-depth reviews. They were like, you got to get back on your reviews because we need that type of
You do,
energy
you
with
do.
the reviews.
Honestly, when you were on Angela's panel for Drag Race, I really quit. I'm like, why doesn't El Teddy still do the reviews? Because I remember, I'm
My
not gonna lie, your
appetite would have
chasing
been
reviews, you had them fucking mad.
I
You
just
had them
they
mad.
always be they be so mad with me. But
You
my
had
thing
them
about
mad.
reviews is I really have to feel it and I got to be vested because reviews take a lot of energy. Like reviews, just like I always talk about doing a silly Saturday is like a 5 and 6 hour process. Doing a review could be a 3 4 hour process because I'm going to watch the thing probably 2 or 3 times, taping, editing, uploading, all of that stuff. So
Tracy,
it's
you
a whole
using the word
process.
kids very loosely, baby. You using the word kids very loosely. Very, very loosely. And you
Child,
know how El Teddy felt about those,
child.
I'm gonna say objects, how El Teddy would be talking about them. Then that girl got mad on that.
I'm not doing this with y'all.
Woo! I still remember she commented on the video. Like, don't put words in my mouth. I never said that about your kid or
Child.
Ashley's kids. Well, I did say that about Ashley's kids.
Goddamn kid.
Ooh. I'll tell you had them folks mad that came for that panel. You had them mad. You had them mad. Whew, you know what? Get back to you need to do some more panel reviews. That I wanna see some solo reviews from you, El Teddy. I need to see some more content. I do. And no, I'm not starting a YouTube channel. I like to passively talk shit in the comments. That's the best part about being a subscriber, actually. I remember Martha's Vineyard when you guys were talking about it. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. I
Yeah,
remember
we had a good time with Monsters Video. Listen, I'm going over to the members only chat because we about to have fun. Harold already over there clowning.
Oh,
Already over there clowning in the members only chat. Anyway, whether or not the country is red or blue, we will always be black.
Blight.
And we'll be here for y'all. We'll be back next week. Until then, that's all we got. Thank y'all for coming. Y'all drive safely. We out. Love y'all.
Bye.